Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Transformers number 8. This is a new book from Image, Skybound. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Daniel Warren Johnson with art by Jorge Corona, Mike Spicer on colors, letters by Rose Wooten. We'll also have some variant covers at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. In this issue, welcome to Cybertrons as the Autobots and Decepticons make some tough choices to survive on Earth. The return of Spoiler, you must have read that Free Comic Book Day special or the Energon special that was released along with this one. That will change the war on Cybertron forever. So, uh, this is a really interesting issue, right? We keep trying to figure out. We have reset everything, but from both teams, the Autobots are still trying to regroup. They've retaken the base. Meanwhile, the Autobots have a new leader. So like things, I mean, the Decepticons have a new leader, and now they're in the search for some other Decepticons to help them in this battle. In the meanwhile, we have Spike dealing with the loss of his father. We have Carly still dealing with the fallout of everything that's been going on. Carly has a really interesting uh, grudge, kind of, with Cliff Jumper because he could have ended things by getting rid of Starscream, but then that would have meant that Carly probably would have died. So they have some tension between them. RC recalling her time back in Cybertron and the war, it's really trying to help them both kind of work through that. So, once again, Jorge Corona just stepped right into this and continues to knock the art out of the park. And just very well done, very interesting manner. I really like his style. So, yeah, great issue. I think that the Transformers are about to ramp up, right? Especially if you read the free comic book day special, you know that somebody big is back, and we're gonna see how did the Decepticons deal with this, how did the Autobots deal with this, how does this affect the larger Energon universe, and then who knows what other surprises the team has in store. I think Daniel Warren Johnson is a big fan of Transformers, so definitely has a lot of really cool things that are coming. So I hope that Carly is able to mend those fences, and I hope that Spike is also able to kind of move forward. We also given a few hints that maybe his dad isn't fully gone. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into that. So let's take a look at some of the preview art. As I mentioned here, I love these establishing shots, just like giving us a lot of background. Also, really good to remember the scale, the size differential between some of the Transformers and the humans, right? Obviously, RC is a pretty large robot, especially compared to Cliff. Cliff Jumper seems to be one of this on the smaller side, and just very effectively. Like the dialogue is, it feels natural. It feels like maybe this is what kids would talk like then, when faced with all these things. And then a very jarring change of colors, right? When we see the flashbacks back to Cybertron, then we here see the Soundwave and on the Decepticons showing up to this ship, and uh they're able to take down this ship because they want its help to lead it somewhere. I just every time that a transformer grabs a human in their palm like they are nothing, it reminds you of the scale of this, and this is really cool. The issue also deals with a few implications of, like, there's a transformer that is kind of stuck in its body, like it doesn't have any. I think it's Jetfire. Jetfire doesn't really have any agency right now, which is a very interesting concept. Like his conscience is there, but he's kind of stuck. Feels almost like a Black Mirror episode type of thing, where, like, the one where they put the mom in the teddy bear, where like she's conscious of everything that's happening, but she has no, like, autonomy in her body to do anything about, like, what's going on. So I don't know. It feels like a really interesting arena to kind of like go down for these transformer issues. Like I said, these this book has really given us a lot. We get the really cool fights, we get the emotional baggage, we get all the really nice surprises, and then even then on top of that, diving into all these like really interesting topics and avenues. So very much enjoy this issue of Transformers. I can't wait to see what happens next. So If you're reading this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments as always. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Black, White, and Green #1. This is a new issue from IDW. Let's take a look at the creatives in this book because we have multiple people working on here. So the first story, Green Screen, is by Declan Shalvey, both story and art. We also have The Brutal Sword of Leonardo, story by Dave Baker and Jesse Lonergan, with art by Jesse Lonergan, and dialogue words, aka words, by Dave Baker. We also have The Flame That Fuels You, written by Gigi Dautre and Lorenzo Hall, art by Gigi Dautre, and Identity Theft, story and art by Paulina Ganesho. We also have some really cool covers. I picked up the James Stucco cover when I went to the shop. So yeah, let's talk about this anthology. In It's the Mutant Ninja Turtles like you've never seen it before. The special series gathers up some of comics' most eclectic and exciting talent to bring their takes on TMNT to the page, taking characters back to their origins in black and white independent comics, but with a dash of green. Thrilling all new adventures by the likes of all the creators that I mentioned before. Um, they really put a lot of thought into how to present this book very, very, like, just in a great fashion. So I really enjoyed all the stories. They all focus pretty much on a different turtle, which was great. Even though you're not able to see the color of each of the turtles, it kind of does call back to the original title where they were all wearing the same, the same pretty much, right? You only could recognize them really by their weapons, and I think the creative team does a really fun job of trying to give you hints of, like, who are you talking about? Whether it's the belt buckle, maybe their weapons are laying by, close by, because you can't really tell just based on their look, and even their bandana. Like, all the bandanas are green in this issue, so it's really about their attitude, the way they're drawn. They're like very subtle things that help you figure out who's who. So let's look into some of those subtle things. So I have a little bit of preview for each one of the stories. The main one's by Declan Shalvey, or the first one, not the main one. The first one's by Declan Shalvey. This one focuses a lot on Donatello. This is pretty much Donnie's story. As you can see here, he's sitting at the computer, really cool gaming chair. You can see his bow staff there in the back as well. And of course, you see Mikey yelling at him and stealing his pizza. I love that the word bubbles are highlighted in green. The words, the inks are green. And this story really talks about how Donatello shouldn't get lost in his own world of technology, which is definitely something that can happen, right? The turtles work better as a unit all together because they each have their own strengths that complement each other and make up for some of their weaknesses. So yeah, Declan Shalvey freaking nailed it, rocked it out of the park. So let's go on to the second story here. This is the Dave Baker, Jesse Lonergan, The Brutal Sword of Leonardo. Of course, you want to put Leonardo in a sword and sandals fantasy type of setting. So yeah, Leo is bumped off via this experiment gone awry into this fantasy world, and of course, he is the swordsman. I really love the idea. Jesse Lonergan's art is fantastic. Sometimes I love the use of all the little panels that just help you with the pacing so much. Like in the title page, you can see Leonardo just like swinging the sword multiple times, swinging it out of the frame, and you can even follow the little tilt, or the little line as to how he's swinging the sword. And then we flash back a little bit to what's going on, right? So, and of course, I think Dave Baker, if you haven't read his work before, truly shines when it comes to like some of this more fantasy twisted type of stuff. Like it's a little bit of like feels very known. It's a nice mixture of like we have some sci-fi elements, we have some fantasy elements, we have some like superhero stuff because those elements all are kind of combined, and that's what Dave Baker just does really well. Go check out some of his other work; it's just outstanding stuff. So let's go on to the next story, The Flame That Fuels You. This is a bold choice for the green that was used here. This one definitely feels the most like throwback to the original Turtles because only the dialogue is green, which is really, really cool. Here we have a little bit more conflict. This is more of a Raphael centric story because, of course, it is. He's the bad boy. I love that the arrows are just kind of stuck in his back. He's having a little bit of conflict with his brothers, and all that stuff. Like it just getting into the minds of the turtles is a big part of what attracts you to them, right? I think each person usually identifies with a specific turtle. So going into the mind of the turtles really helps you put yourself in that position and maybe even relate. So definitely, last but definitely not least, we have the identity theft storyline, or the little story. This isn't really about any specific turtle. This is more about like shenanigans happening to all of them at once. Um, Donnie accidentally created this like, I don't know, goop that turns into a turtle, and then shenanigans ensue from there. This is just really fun. I really like the art style here. It really gives me more of a vibe from the animated shows, which is also a big facet of this property. So yeah, overall, all four stories are a lot of fun. The book looks beautiful. I think the black, white, and green is a really nice change of pace. So definitely, definitely recommend you check this out, especially if you're a Turtles fan. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments as always. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Crocodile Black #1. This is a new book from Boom Studios. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, illustrated by Som, colors by Patricio Delpeche, and letters by Becca Carey. Beautiful cover you see here by Andrea Sorrentino. There'll be some other covers at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. So I had no idea what I was getting into with this book, but I saw the name Philip K. Johnson and I was like, all right, I got to check it out. Boom's been killing it with a lot of their #1s very recently. So it was no surprise to me that I was going to enjoy this. So let's talk about what is this book. What makes someone turn to crime, especially in a modern pandemic riddled dystopia? Danny, a seemingly mundane young man lost in escapism with a spiraling lack of control over his life, witnesses something during a delivery job that will change him forever, turning things as dark as the black crocodile skin boots that he can't take his eyes off of. In this crime thriller from Eisner nominated Philip Kennedy Johnson and rising star Somnath Pal, the morally gray turns to cold blooded murder. So, a few things here. First of all, crime thriller, check, I'm in. Philip Kennedy Johnson, check, I'm in. A main character named Danny, check, I'm in. So like this ticks a lot of my boxes. And although I'm not familiar with the artist, once we get into the previews, you're gonna see that it's super, super rad stuff. There's just a obviously the tone is very well captured by the darkness of the art. I think there's some paneling where it's just small little details that your eye gets really drawn to, and then of course we have some gratuitous violence, but also there's this element of like foreboding. There's like not so much a supernatural element, but definitely something that's askew. And we'll talk about that in a second. So let's check out some of the preview pages here. First of all, kicking off with the little snake, the guy smoking there. Um, really bringing you into the setting of like this has to be some kind of mob boss's house or something, right? It's the only way that this could happen. But I love that as he walks in the door, you see the gunshot, you see the little squiggly alligator kind of like in the back behind the gun. That's gonna be a motif that comes back. All these little squiggles, and then of course just the head being blown right off. Pretty graphic stuff. Uh, yeah, it's just really cool. I love the zooming in on the eyes to reflect and show the fear, and then just the blood splatter here at the end. Yeah, this is just some really amazing stuff. And then of course, getting introduced to our main character Danny via this just really cool establishing shot. Right, you get to see he likes to draw. Obviously, he's creative. He's watching anime on the iPad, or at least listening to it. The room's a mess. You see just all the little details that tell you so much about this character that you've just met. You see the adult magazines there laying around. Yeah, it's just very cool stuff. So through this issue, you get to meet a lot more of Danny, and I'm very excited because obviously this is set in a very interesting time, right? It was set during the pandemic, and it's kind of its own little twist on that. So you get to re-examine some of the like things that we had to do at the beginning of the pandemic to kind of make sure that life went on as normal as possible. But then you also have the element of like Danny's mind, how he perceives the world, how that looks into his head. And then lastly, you have the crime thriller on top of that. Like just this crime mystery, how does that change our protagonist? What's going on with these boots? Yeah, so really great stuff from Boom. Really great stuff from Philip Kennedy Johnson and the team. Highly recommend you check this out. And maybe pick up some of those cool variants and let me know which ones. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments as always. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Deviant #5. This is a new book from Image Comics. It's back from hiatus, so here we are. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This is written by James Tynion IV with art by Joshua Hickson, letters by Hassan Otsmane Elhau. We have multiple covers. You'll see some at the end of the video as well. Boy, oh boy, we came back with a vengeance. Let me catch you up. This book focuses on Michael, who is a comic book creator who is investigating the deviant murders from his childhood, or from a long time ago that happened in this town. But also just to do a comic book about it. But also the murder has struck again, and now we need to figure out what the hell is going on. So, in this issue, Michael Schmitz is working on a book about the men in prison for the grisly slaying of two teenage boys 50 years ago. But for Michael, the deviant killer isn't just a subject, but an obsession, one that changed the course of his childhood. The deviant returns as Michael's connection to these gruesome slayings begin to unravel. And can I just say, this is one of the most shocking uh, issues that I read for this book. Like normally, like it's all very like in your face about a lot of stuff. But man, oh man, this one caught me off guard. I was not expecting what was happening here. So yeah, this one, James Tynion just really caught me by surprise, and boy oh boy, things get really weird really fast, and it's very disturbing. Like I was I was taken aback when I finished reading that. I was like, holy shit, The Deviant is back with a vengeance. Let's talk about some of the art. Joshua Hickson, of course, is a fantastic artist. I didn't have to censor the middle page, but I did it only because I'm putting this on YouTube. So I don't want, just more of a precaution, really. Maybe I should have censored more. We'll see. But you have Michael and his friend from childhood, and they're getting on the computer as kids did back in the day, and they're looking at stuff they're not supposed to be looking at. And it seems that Michael is, finding a little bit about himself when looking at all these images. So, very interesting stuff. They also go into this website about the deviant killer, which maybe sparks the obsession. Uh, and then you have the relationship between these boys, like, just get really, really weird. Uh, yeah, it's just the whole issue is just tension, and I think Hickson really captures that very well, right? Very subtle, looking at like the facial expressions, the paneling, the showing all the little details, and then of course the dialogue feels very much like, oh yeah, this is how kids would react to some shit like this. So really, really interesting stuff. Man, this one, like I said, it's a lot to process, but the story is so good. It is just, I understand that crime thrillers is a very, very a popular genre, but boy oh boy, like, from the beginning, this book has just been hitting on all cylinders, and I'm glad that the team is back with, with a strong opening here to get you back on the Deviant. So highly recommend this. If you have read this, though, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.